60% of Kenyans are in debt. 80% of the 60% that is in that debt will probably never, ever come out of that debt. Households that have debt have 90% chance of financial ruin. Only 1% of Kenyans have 500,000 shillings in their bank account. How do you build wealth? You don't build wealth with income. You build wealth with what stays. Purposes without finances is frustration. You're sharpening. God has put that responsibility on another brother. The truth is, the day you got born again, private life ended.
Yeah.
Because now you get into a community. Secret sin is the cancer that will sniff you out of your destiny.
Yeah.
The truth of the matter, Moz, is that in these streets, there are many Christians who are not born again.
Say.
I promise you. Influence is such a precious commodity because you can build with influence and you can destroy with influence.
Yeah. It's very easy to come in front of Jesus Christ. Where you're telling Jesus Christ, wewe niongoze. Lakini kumbe, wewe ni unamuongoza na mwambia, wewe nifuate, rubber stamp hiki tunafanya.
I walk in and I see this tall, light girl and she is standing out and she is worshiping and I'm like, there is no way this girl is single. Whoever her husband is, God bless him. Where do people get wives like this?
Yo, what's up, good people, man? First, thank you so much for always joining us for the DJ Moz Podcast. We do not take it for granted, man. I'm always excited to be able to have wonderful guests joining me for conversations. People who are known, other people who are not known, but they are known in their circles. And, just being able to have genuine, honest conversations with them. So, man, as you continue digging in and enjoying the podcast, we'd like to encourage you to go ahead and support us, man. This is only possible through your love and through your support. Pray for us, talk about us, but then also you can go ahead and, go a step further and support us financially. And you can do that by, our account number and the till number. They're all, is it till number? No, the pay bill number and the account numbers iko hapa hivi, si ndio? Please do go ahead and support us financially because this encourages us, it allows us to be able to pay our bills and to continue hooking you up with more great content, si ndio? Thank you so much for your love. In the meantime, man, let's continue in our conversations today hapa hivi on the DJ Moz Podcast. Yeah, so nimetoka nini? I just got back from a trip I'd gone for like 9 days.
Okay.
Oh, sounds so good like that, man.
You don't like them living here?
Ati?
Hautaki waishi hapa?
No, nilikuwa nimeenda Joe.
Oh,
Yeah.
Okay.
So I'd gone down to SA, Botswana, Namibia. So,
Yeah.
But ulikuwa sawa.
Okay.
Yeah, nilikuwa nimewa hata bana. Huko aje?
I'm fantastic.
Yeah.
I'm moving forward.
That's what's up.
Hey.
And you asked me how long it's been. So mine is 17 years. I'm heading 17 years.
17 years, boss of marriage. You've been married 17 years. Wow, that's like a long time. Coley, how old are you? Hey, boss.
17 years.
You've been married for 17 years.
Yeah.
Well done, man.
God is good, man.
Uh-huh.
God is good, man.
I'm just wondering,
Yeah.
did you know you'd be married for 17 years?
Bro, it's just...
Like when you started, did you know, like how long did you think this journey was going to be?
I have no... We knew when I got into it, I was like, there's no plan B.
Okay.
So this thing has to work.
Yeah.
There's like no exit strategy.
Yeah.
And I remember one time my boy Ewaga akisema, man, if you ever enter into this thing with an exit strategy, that opportunity will always present itself.
Makes a lot of sense.
Many times and in many variations.
Yeah.
But anyway, for me, like, I knew this was it for the long haul, man.
Okay.
And you just enjoy every year. Nakumbuka mazee wakisema, I'm sure you've heard this as well. Like the first 3 years are the hardest.
Yeah, I've heard that a lot.
Then you get to third year, and like, man, year 7 will break you.
No way. That's what they say.
To year 7,
you're like, huh? I'm waiting for a breaking. Nothing is happening.
But God has been really good because,
honestly, I don't know how it is for you, Rapasi. You've probably dealt with this many times over. You've done many counseling sessions.
Yeah.
The thing is, I believe that, marriage is what you make it, and you're two different people who look at life from two very different perspectives. But you have to remember that for me, in the back of my mind, I have to remember that my partner has my best interests at heart.
Okay.
It doesn't work that way for everyone.
Yeah.
But when you get into that place where you know that you guys are in this thing together, and you make the best out of
So when did you get to that place? Because you're saying when you get to the place when you know the two of you are in this together. Like, did you get that before you got married?
Oh yeah, it was before.
Before you got married. Okay.
So when I was dating my wife, we dated for 3 years.
Okay, that's a long time.
But I was a complete idiot the first 1.5 years.
That's harsh.
Hey,
Okay.
I really was.
Yeah.
Because I knew for some reason, when I started hanging out with Debs, there's a time, bro, where I went walking with her at my friends, at my boys' area code. So tunatembea tu in the neighborhood.
Yeah.
And I held her hand.
Okay.
And I was like, man, this is it. This is it. Hapa sitoki.
Okay.
And I knew.
That's how you knew.
This is it.
Who did you tell first that you think you found her?
Oh man, I told all my boys.
So who did you tell first? The first
maybe
guy.
I want to say maybe Kaberere.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay. So you called him, you went to his house.
Kabera was my neighbor.
Oh,
we used to live in the same. It's like our
yeah.
office is here. Like I'm here, and Kaberere's house is right there. Right next.
So you went and told him both. Now I found the girl.
Yeah. So those Kaberere, probably Andy, Andy Mboro, Soxy.
Okay. But Kaberere was first.
Yeah. Most
why
likely.
Why Kaberere? Why did you tell him first? Because of proximity.
Kaberere was like my kid brother.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay.
Like
what did he say?
Oh man, he was happy.
Okay.
And he was very happy, man. And like we always like we shared everything. Like hatukuwa na siri. Akienda kukatia dem. Sasa mimi pekee ndio niko na kandae. Angechukua gari kwenda nayo kucheki dem. But so when at that point I knew that she's the one. And I told her I was an idiot because now for the next 1.5 years, I think I just come from a difficult breakup.
Okay.
And I could not think of putting anyone else through that.
Also, you were just broken up.
Yeah, like.
Then you said how many months?
Like maybe 5-6 months later.
5 months, okay.
So, and I didn't want to put anyone, like I could not think of putting Debs through that.
Okay.
But then at the same time, I knew she's the one, but I was afraid of commitment because of what I'd experienced before. She had also come out of a relationship as well.
Okay.
So, but bro, by the time I was asking her out.
Yeah.
And I remember for our engagement, I didn't even have a ring to give her the first time.
Yo, the hustle is hard.
So my wedding band, this one I had bought way before we got married.
Okay.
Like I knew when I saw this ring, I was like, that's what I want to be given for in my marriage. So the day we get married.
Yeah.
So bro, I was like, this is it. Mimi's hapa. This like she's the one.
What did Kaberere say when you told him?
When I told him, I told him he was happy, man.
Okay, so
like
how did that approval make you feel? Did he? Of course, he approved.
Of course, yeah.
Yeah, because he knew Debs.
He knew Debs.
Yeah,
he knew Debs.
So what did that approval make you? How did that make you feel?
I don't think I was looking for his affirmation or approval. Because I knew he was happy that I'm dating.
Okay.
alikuwa ametiki every other space of my life. Any relationship I had been.
So he was in the journey this whole time.
Yeah. Alikuwa ashaniona because Kaberere and I have been boys since I was like very fresh in Christianity. So I do not remember anything particular he told me. But one of my boys who gave me very solid, Soxy. Like Soxy and I would have deep conversations. And even in our dating life, when he's dating Shiko and I'm dating Debs at that time as well. And Soxy, I remember him telling me, Moz, sometimes you look at the pastors and they're out there, they're like, man, they want to have their wife as a trophy wife, to show to every, showcase her to the church. My wife, please stand up.
Yo.
My wife wakes up with me at 3 o'clock in the morning and we're praying.
Which pastors are these?
They're there, bro. You probably, when you invite them to your church, they'll be like, stand up and...
okay.
But the thing is, he was like, sometimes God wants to give you the right wife who you know when you're away from home, vitu ziko sawa.
I see what you're saying. Yeah. But I really struggle with that idea of God giving you a wife. Like, how does it happen? Man, I prayed, I asked, I don't know, man. Sometimes I feel I actually had to get this wife. Okay, God led me, but this one for giving you, where were you giving?
Yeah.
Like, how did
you had to do something?
No, yeah, I had to like take steps, but man, it was a bit crazy because it was actually like a first fruit of obedience.
Yeah. Oh, wow.
Because that day I said yes to planting the church, I started doing what I called Rivers Origins. Now, during Rivers Origins, what would happen is people would gather on a Sunday afternoon at 4 p.m. And would set up the hall, deck it out with lights. It was a cozy hall out in Havila Ranch in Ruach.
That's where you still are.
That's where I still am. Yeah. So that one was maybe a hall that seats 100 people.
Yeah.
And I was like, man, this is, before I used to think 100 people is a lot of people.
Yeah.
No, rather little people. But when I come to the hall, I'm like, this hall seats 100. I'm like, this is such a big hall. Then in my mind, I've imported a tent for 1,400 people.
Oh, wow.
I'm like, gosh, if this is 100, how does 14?
The hall looks massive.
The hall was like, yo. Anyway, I digress. So we used to meet there on Sundays at 4 p.m. just for 3 Sundays.
Yeah.
Rivers Origins, which was more like a workers' meeting.
Yeah.
So there was an open invitation to people who feel they want to be part of the work that we're doing in Ruaka.
Yeah.
And the second one, one of the people who are leading worship, I walk in and I see this tall, light girl, and she is standing out and she is worshiping, and I'm like, there is no way this girl is single. Whoever her husband is, God bless him. Where do people get wives like this? And I actually walk behind.
Yeah.
Because I'm like, if I sit in front today, forget it.
You're not worshiping.
I walked behind. And I just killed that story. Like, I'm just like, yeah, whatever, man. This is not happening.
You're going to try and worship God like in a distraction.
Let me tell you, perfection embodied. So what happens next is that, so I meet these guys, the guys who are leading present worship.
Yeah.
I said, guys, let me buy you guys coffee at Social House. Hey, I was ambitious those days, let me tell you. So guys come to Social House. For 2 meetings, I'm calling them the vision casting meeting.
Yeah.
I want her to cast the vision. Which church are we building?
Yeah.
Now she makes the good mistake of coming. Yeah. So we are sitting at this round table at this living room, and then people asking questions.
Yeah.
So me, I just go to the jugular. I ask her, hey, what's your purpose in life? And are you like dating or something like this? But it's in a group context.
Yeah.
And she stands up and says, listen to what she says. She says, I've always seen myself helping a man of God preparing the sermon. I said, let me tell you, I should have obeyed 3 years ago, man. Why didn't I plant this church earlier? That's exactly what, of course, she always says she didn't say that, but everybody in the room had her saying that she has always seen herself helping this man of God. She has always seen herself helping Bible studies.
Hey, bro.
I'm like, So now, in my mind, I'm like, so the meeting, obviously, in my mind at that time, the meeting ends.
Yeah.
So people are in the meeting, but I am completely out of it. I am now wondering, how do I get this girl's number? I can't just outrightly go. And then I'm the pastor. You see, I'm the pastor of that place. Apana, lakini inakaje. The thing is, hii ni siku ya kwanza. These guys can misread me and say, kwani this pastor?
Yeah.
He's gathering us here to vibe us or what's happening. Yeah, but I said, you know what? So my 2 brothers were sitting on my right and left. This was Pastor Doc and Pastor Lovey. Then I said, bros, you guys, me, I'm going to ask this chick for her number, man. At now, I'm like, yeah. Like, boss, you can't do that. I was like, boss, I might never see her ever again. Yeah, because even that time, I didn't quite know her name. So I waited we finished the meeting, people shared the grace. I prayed. I'm like, God, please, if you allow me to get this woman, I'll never ask you for anything else. I promise you. It's a very strange prayer.
Yeah.
That's what happened, man. So I went, asked her for her number, and then, she gracefully gave me the number. But now, she leaves. Now I text her.
Yeah.
She did for 5 hours.
Oh, bro.
By the second hour, I was like, whatever, man. Let me just focus on prayer and fasting. I knew this chick is not going to respond.
Yeah.
And then she answered and she got home and we started talking.
Bro.
Now we've been married 3 years. It's so little.
You're on your journey.
Yeah, but I'm also looking for that thing you were telling me. I was looking. I'm like, first year, second year. It's really beautiful.
Oh, let me tell you. I've got to tell you, enjoy the marriage process. But in how long did you take now to ask her out? From the social.
It was very intentional, actually, and I'm glad it was, because in hindsight, she told me that if I didn't, she was going to block me because she didn't like people who are jokers. So these are top city lawyers. She's so firm. She's a firstborn, and then she's grown up in a family of 3. She's a firstborn. Both her parents are very present. Her dad is extremely protective. Her dad is a university professor, extremely protective. Do you know? This professor, when my wife was doing her bar exams at KSL in Car, he used to drive her there.
Hey, bro.
So this girl, like the hedge of fire from the father, is like crazy. Let me tell you something funny. Listen, what do you make of this? So she was modeling in KU, Kenya University. She became Miss KU. But even in her night, after she was announced Miss KU, the dad was in the parking waiting.
Oh, waiting.
Yeah. He was like, it's a pageant, no problem. You go model. When you finish, you come out. He didn't even attend the event. He was seated. I'm like, thank God for this professor. All this while, this professor, kumbe, this was his job. Yeah, man. So it's really God's grace. It's one of the things in my life that shows me that God's love is not merited. Yeah, God's love is never merited. Because if I look at the idiocy, you talked about being an idiot. If you look at the idiocy that I've displayed and the wife that that God has allowed me to marry, it's so refreshing. It's a breath. I'm always looking forward to go home. Like, I want to go home. She's my best friend. She's my best girl. I always want to spend time with her. Like, if I'm not working or doing ministry or doing business, I want to be home.
So, like, you're dating. I mean, you asked me how my boys responded. You meet at a social house. How long did you take before you asked her?
Yeah, so it was very quick. So I asked her. That day I asked her, I tell you, we should do coffee. Come meet me. She agrees. She comes in 2 days. We meet at the church where we were planning the church. So at that time we were constructing. The shock of my life, the tent has just landed. It's a huge thing because I think I was not correctly perceiving, because the tent is 35 meters by 25 meters. I was not correctly perceiving it on WhatsApp. Because I thought the Chinese man just give me something big, something that is imposing and something that can shout glory to God. So this guy comes up and says, in East Africa, currently there is no tent like this. That's the Akum tent. It's a carved tent on the top. And it's a 4-meter tent, right? Says this, there's not tent like this yet. It's just a new technology. It's what we're releasing now. I said, that's the one I want. The day it landed, it completely shocked me. So we were at the site many times. So she just comes over there. Then we go. We went to Windsor. We went to Windsor on our first date. Best foot forward.
Hey, bro. You're not joking around, man.
Windsor, hey,
son.
No. This girl, I must spoil her with love. So we went to Windsor. That was the first date. Our second date, we went somewhere in town. The third one, we went to Naivasha. This was in a space for like 3 weeks. 3-4 weeks. And then that's when I asked her out. I just told her, I actually brought you to Naivasha to ask you to be my woman.
Was she...
So now first I asked her, do you think this is a good place to have a serious conversation? Then she's like, let's do it. So I asked her. Then there was the loud silence. You can imagine, and that's the time where your palms, you can be such an aggressive. I find myself like a very aggressive person. I'm a really go-getter, like both. For me, in fact, I like things that look impossible. That's my inclination. Just getting it done, leaning on the anointing of God for exploits. But this day, boss, I was summoning my inner strength, but the inner strength was not responding. The palms were sweaty, boss. There is just a way that situation made... It's like it made the air have texture.
This is one of your most vulnerable places.
Extremely, because first of all, you've given her the power.
Oh, completely.
And this girl, she takes the power. She takes the power and looks at me in there, and she's enjoying this moment because she knows she has a. So what I say because I'm like, let's break this thing now. I say, okay, do you want to think about it? Should I give you time to think about it? This was not even 5 seconds of pause. It's not.
But it's like the longest 5 seconds ever.
It's really long.
Yeah,
so I'm like, no, let me just say, do you want to think about it so that you just forget this? Let's just go to Nairobi right now.
Awkward, yeah.
Then she's like, now let me ask you, what if I said no? Does it mean now the date is over? Do we now drive back to Nairobi? How will the drive be? Yeah, so she gave me a long speech there and gracefully accepted to be my girlfriend.
That's what's up.
And then we went and took photos, which I will post on this podcast. Yeah, that is how it was. It was very intentional.
Yeah.
I've always said I will marry when I want. And the truth is, I think when a man wants a woman, he knows. I think he really does know. And if he doesn't know, he doesn't want that woman.
Yeah.
That's what it is. There's clarity when a man wants something. Especially a woman. Like you want this lady to be your life partner, which is arguably the most important decision you're ever gonna make. Actually, for sure, day one. So I my heart goes out to our sisters when they say he's not saying anything, I'm nudging him, please say something, I'm giving up on you. And I'm like, that is so unfair. But I'm like, you are better off cutting it out right now than having to deal with somebody who doesn't know what he wants.
But I'm going to say, I think it's not that I did not know what I wanted. But, I think my wife was getting, pressure from my friends because they're like, man, this dude is not serious.
Okay. Yeah, the friends.
Because
it's 5 months.
We're hanging out, not seeing anyone else. We are having a good time, like.
3 years.
Yeah, I mean, I dated her before I asked her out. I say we dated for 3 years.
Okay.
But, for me, the point of asking her out was 1.5 years.
In. No way. You're Al-Shabaab, my friend. That is Al-Qaeda.
That was just, that was like straight up unkind. I'm not seeing anyone else. And it's that's why I'm like, it was such an idiot moment for me because, bro, the day I got married, I was like, Yani, I should have married this girl the first 6 months.
Okay.
Because I knew.
Yeah.
Nilikuwa najua hakuna mwingine. She's the one.
Okay.
So I feel like I wasted.
Is that when you said the one, there were things you were looking for and she had them?
Bro, she checked every box.
What are the top 3?
Like, she's beautiful.
Top three.
She's fly.
You're DJ Moz, of course you're going to marry a fly woman, so leave the fly one.
Not even, but she's fly.
Okay.
And then she's sharp.
Okay.
So she challenges me to date.
Wow.
With everything. And I remember back in the day, Gowi, myself and our friend of ours called Jonah, when we were broke and single, and we'd all have these conversations like, what kind of wife would you want? And we all said, we want a wife who will challenge us to be better men.
Okay.
So we don't want women who just say yes.
Okay. How does that look like?
So, with my wife, like now I can tell you, I like passing things through her because she sees them from a different perspective. I think I'm a visionary, I'll see the big picture.
Yes, sir.
I do not think through the details.
Okay.
You get?
Okay.
And so she'll look through the details and she'll start asking me questions. I'll be like, oh man, I thought I'd seen this thing properly.
Okay.
But then I hadn't. Or she'll be like, okay, you're seeing this. Have you thought about looking at it from this other perspective?
Okay.
And I'm also happy that she's not in my industry.
Oh.
Yeah, she's not in entertainment.
Yeah.
You get, she's in ministry.
Okay.
Soaked into church, always serves, always leads, she preaches.
Wow.
But
that's quite a gift.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So she always challenges me to be a better person. And I can tell you, bro, confidently that sometimes when I don't listen to her advice, it comes and bites my behind. Straight up. So she's beautiful. She's smart.
Yeah.
And bro, she loves me.
Okay. All right. Yeah. That counts for something. That's the main thing.
Bro, she loves me.
Yeah.
So there's no malice in this mama.
Yeah.
So sometimes when she's calling me out for something, she's actually not calling me out.
It's coming from
a place of love.
A point of love, okay.
So she has my best interest at heart first.
There is always this idea that there will always be one person who loves the other more. In your case, who loves the other more? Pico. It's psychological. It's physically, biologically, and psychologically impossible for you to love each other equally.
See, bro, for me, when I'm in this thing, I think I love my wife 100%.
Yeah.
And for her,
she loves you 100%.
She loves me 100%.
Who loves the other one more?
Nah, me, if I give her 100 and she gives me 100, I don't know who loves the other one.
Yeah, very clever.
I think maybe, our expressions are different.
Okay.
You get, our expressions are different.
Okay.
And, but if I ask you the same question, like who loves?
I for sure, I think I love my wife more. I love her more because, okay, so I think it's a growing thing.
Yeah.
I have found something really interesting, that love gives you more return than the effort you put in. That very little consistent efforts produce such a huge pay. Like the payout is crazy. So, case in point. Personally, I'm a business person. So Monday to Friday, even Monday to Saturday, I'm always working. I'm traveling. I'm coming home late. I have 2 days in a day. So there is my main gig, which I'd run possibly until 5 p.m. We are building a fintech. I'm running the finance. So what happens is that there's a lot of work, investor meetings, fundraising, modeling, structuring, so on. I also happen to be doing a real estate project in the same group, I'm leading the finance. Right? So quite a hectic day. But at 5 p.m., I also have other projects that I'm working on. Like I'm doing a chicken farming. I'm trying to set up a pig farming facility, but not small scale, like properly large scale, something that you can invest in and so on. So from 5 to 9 is another working day for me. So I'm setting up meetings at 6 p.m., 7 p.m. I'm doing dinners. So on average, I'm home between 11 to midnight.
Bro.
Like clockwork, like every day, like every single day.
What time do you leave?
Every single day. So like today I left, I think 6 a.m. Yeah, see, by 6 a.m. I was completely done, left the house. Then, of course, did the coffee, catch up on emails and so on. Then when I texted you, I was at social house. Then I just came over. Right? But so in talking to my wife, she was expressing some concern. She was not liking it so much. She actually didn't like it at all.
Because she wants to hang out with you.
But my thinking was always, but baby, I'm not doing this for myself. I'm doing this for us. I'm doing this for our family. I'm doing this for your dresses, baby. I'm doing this for holiday, for us. You're getting it for us. I'm hustling for us, but she didn't like it. And coming into conversation and just getting her point of view. Before I was like, no, I don't think, there is no child in this marriage and we are both adults and there is no curfew. I mean, if you're working, you do what you need to do. You're my wife and so I'm your husband. You can't say all these things. But I have quickly stepped back from that position because I've begun to appreciate now that love considers the other person first. So I now found myself living a life of inconvenience. So it was tough only for the first 3-4 days. Then by the 5th day, boss, at 5 p.m., I'm like, I need to go home. I need to, I'm like, baby, in fact, today I'm the one opening for you the gate, And that small act of sacrifice has produced another woman I didn't know existed in my life. And I'm like, okay. What else can I sacrifice? Show me something else that you don't like. I'm in the mood of killing something. You see? So that's what I was saying, that I found that love has a way of producing more return than the investment you're putting in. So consequently, I found myself at a place where my disposition is looking for new ways to love this young girl. I'm always looking for new ways. I'm like, do you know, I was like, even, baby, let me take you to the salon. I'll just sit at the salon. I'll sit at the salon and read a newspaper and read something. It's strange for strange, but the payout is crazy. What that has done for me from a business perspective, it has created a sense of stability that is giving me serious motivation for acceleration. So right now, I am more organized.
Because now you're able to plan, I want to be home by 5.
I don't take meetings past 7. It doesn't matter. I'm just like, I have a family. Actually, my line is, let me now say it, I have a family engagement that I have to be at. I'm unable, I can't come. So it's very hard to catch me now past 7. It's very hard.
That's what's up, man.
I don't know. Did you have to sacrifice anything that was precious for you, for her?
I think at first my wife sacrificed a lot.
Okay, so she loved you. See, now that's what it is.
I'm not even finished my statement.
Okay.
So when we got married, my wife, a lot changed for my wife because first, she used to go to Mavuno downtown. I used to go to Nairobi Chapel.
Okay, the one on Ngong Road.
Yes.
Okay.
So when we got married, so she moved from her church to come to Nairobi Chapel. Okay. So we got married in October of 2008. 2008. So we got married October 2008. So honeymoon, we took 2 weeks off. So when we came back, she moved from her
2 weeks.
Bro, God's blessings, man. You say that again. Say that again.
Tell you.
Say that again.
3-4 days we weren't rejoicing. 2 weeks off. All right.
Let me tell you, man, this is a story. It's a God story.
Okay.
Because we were both broke.
Okay.
We were both.
Like, DJ Moz, what do you mean by when you say you're broke? So let me give you a statistic. So there was a study that was done last year.
Yeah.
And it came out that only 1% of Kenyans have 500,000 shillings in their bank account.
Oh, bro, we were nowhere near there.
No way. You are below there 1%.
Aye, bro, we were nowhere near there.
So you are zero cash.
My wife and I think at that time, maybe our cash put together.
Yeah.
Per month, our monthly income might have been something like maybe 130, 140 G's combined.
Okay. That's a risky spot right there.
But, bro, we loved each other. And, our marriage, our wedding was a miracle and a blessing from God in all ways. It's like, for me, bro, God is my father. Me, sina plan B.
Okay.
And when I need anything, I have to, ask it from him because I have no one else to talk to.
Got you, sir. Got you.
So I remember, our parents, they came through in a big way to support us. Our friends and family came through in a big way to support us.
Yeah.
In fact, there's a time when media houses, we talk about, lavish weddings. They throw our wedding. We're like, God, though, you guys do you even know what we've gone through for this thing to happen?
It was a city wedding, both. It was a city, a big celebrity.
Hey, bro.
Was the wedding important for you? Would you do it? Would you marry her without the wedding?
Oh, yeah.
Okay.
We would do it, without.
Okay.
So
why did you do the wedding?
I mean,
whose idea was it? Were you joined?
Both of us wanted to do it.
Both of you wanted. So it's something you always wanted to do.
Of course, yeah. It was really good.
Okay.
And when we advise people, we didn't get into debt in our marriage, on our wedding day.
Okay.
No, we didn't borrow cash.
Wow, that's so fresh. So is that life debt free?
Completely.
Okay.
We knew where we are financially.
Yeah.
And even though, whatever cash we would get, we were very intentional to know what it is that we need to do. We did many things for ourselves. You get, my wife's mom baked the cake.
No way.
Yeah.
That lavish wedding.
Yes.
The cake was
homemade.
Okay.
Yeah.
All right.
And it was 4 tier.
Proper cake.
So,
okay.
We did our own flowers.
No way.
The venue that we chose, was a friend from church. The mom had a backyard. They gave us the venue.
So God amplified this.
Then we had thought about, oh man, it would be really nice if we can do parasols. Then you go talk to someone for parasols. Okay. Now you're thinking, you're dreaming what you can have.
Yes.
So parasols, so we have 10 people sitting around that. Yes. And bro, so when she gave us the wedding venue, the lady, she was like, oh yeah, here's a number of someone you can talk to who does this thing. So we're going to talk to the guy.
Yeah.
Our wedding was on a Friday.
Okay.
He had a wedding in the same venue on a Saturday.
No way.
The guy was like, if you allow me to set up on a Friday,
get out of here.
I'll give you a crazy hookup.
Get out of here.
What are you talking about? Works things out.
So somebody did their setup over there.
So the setup that we had on the Friday is exactly what he was going to use on the Saturday. And he needed to set up on the Friday so he's not stressed. So bro, he came and set up on the Thursday.
Okay. Tell me something. Because you are a man of God, and you've done so much work in this country. So at Rivers, I'm always saying that we have this view. There is God will reward us at the end. Fantastic.
Yeah.
But I hold the view that God is not debtor of any man. And those people who serve him, there's a way God makes your life beautiful in ways you can't pay for.
He does.
And it's not until when we transitioned to heaven, because I have seen markers of God's grace and blessing. Let me give you an interesting testimony.
Yeah.
When we were importing the tent, it's the biggest project I've ever done in my whole life. And the first time I hit this financial milestone in my life, and God, I think it was $100,000 at that time. God said, you give me that money, which was I battled with that thing for 6 months. Yeah. And for 6 months, anytime I pray, I can just hear, God says, it was so clear.
Yeah.
And at that time I had serious other projects, including my wedding.
Yeah.
So by the time even we were putting in some money for church, I remember there's like 2 weeks to my wedding, there's a time we needed some proper, like something like $12,000 for church. We were doing, what are we doing there? I think we're doing the lighting or something like this. And we were putting all this cash in church, and I didn't even have sufficient cash
for your wedding.
For my wedding. Can you imagine? It was seafood. I didn't even tell my wife. I did not even tell her like what's. I just told her, baby, don't worry, we're okay, we're okay. Yeah. And do you know that whole season, I can hardly give you a prayer point. Like I can hardly ask you, I can hardly tell you anything that I was praying for because God had answered all prayers. Yeah. Like all prayers for all prayers. Like I'm graduating masters, I'm graduating my second masters. The church is growing, the wedding is fully paid off. We come out of the wedding, those people gave us gifts. I think on our wedding we walked away like with $20K. I talk about $20K.
Wow.
Crazy for like it was. Man, I was just wondering, this is too much. Like, I'm just like, I didn't know that God can lavish somebody like this on this side of the heaven, on this side of heaven.
The Bible asks, who has given God? This
is precisely the question. So I wanted to ask you, because of the time you're saying, would you say, of course you can't say it, but would you say that serving God really contributed to the kind of acceleration and fresh air you enjoyed during your wedding? Bro. Because like, how do you explain that? How do you explain that somebody's coming to set up on a Friday? Like, are they even asking you, please do it?
Yes. I want to say serving God has such great rewards. Yeah. And the thing for me, what I can tell guys is not just for now.
Yeah.
But also in what is to come. You know. So like, I know that the blessings that I have seen in my life is because of, being, in a space where I'm serving God, because God will open doors.
Amen.
Like, let me put it this way. There's something called favor.
Okay.
And what I say is favor will open doors that money can't open.
Oh, you can say that one more time.
Because
yes, sir,
the things that God has allowed me to be able to experience in my life,
yes, sir,
and my family, it's not because we are moneyed. It's because of His favor.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir.
Because you'll find many people who have money,
yes, sir,
and ridiculous wealth, but they have to do crazy things to get doors opened.
Despite the wealth.
Despite the wealth.
Yes, sir.
But you find someone who does not have the wealth, but because God's favor is on you, as you go, you meet with people and you connect, and doors open.
Wow.
So when I look back in my life, and even as we run Kubamba, the one thing I tell my colleagues, and I try to tell them, man, you need to learn this thing, that we don't do because we have.
Okay. Wow, that's a powerful key. That's a really powerful key.
But we do because God has said so.
That's a really powerful. That's even a serious entrepreneur master key.
Yeah.
Actually, that's what it is. Tell me, what would you say then is the biggest door God has opened for you?
I think my marriage has been one incredible journey.
Okay.
And I do not say this lightly. Because it's the one place where I feel home.
Okay. Wow.
Like, my wife is she's like the best gift ever.
Wow.
I have done many things with Kubamba. But the one constant, apart from God being in my life,
yes, sir,
bro, has been my wife.
Wow.
Because when you look at the things that we do as Kubamba, we have great moments.
Yes, sir.
And then we have challenging moments.
Okay.
And there's certain things that you do that's Kubamba, such a big moment for you. Like,
Kubamba can have challenging moments.
Bro.
Kubamba, no way.
Let me tell you.
What are you talking about? What are you talking about, boss? The most premier brand you guys have built such a strong brand.
God has been so good.
And it is such a huge success. Do you know we came to your TSOs until you stopped naming them? Totally sold out.
Yes.
My goodness.
And see, that's a good, let me use this example now.
Yes, sir.
that's a good win that I have had in my life.
Okay.
Again, another faith journey. Doing totally sold out every New Year's Eve.
Yes, sir.
But things have, some of these things, you can run them until you get to a certain point. You're like, it's no longer relevant.
Got you. Okay.
It's no longer relevant. So you either have to drop it.
Yeah.
Or something else has to come in that takes you to the...
That was a really bold decision, yeah?
Bro, we had to.
That was walk me through, how was that decision? Did you think about it first? Is it a conversation you had with Njugush? Were you in prayer? What exactly happened? Were you checking metrics? Was it attendance? Was it finance? Was it location? Was it brand? What was it? Was it competition? Because all of a sudden everybody's having something on the 31st.
So,
yeah?
You see all those things you've said?
Yeah.
100%. We had many meetings from 2017.
Okay.
We had many meetings where we were asking ourselves, hey, thank you, we have coffee.
Finally.
Thank you to Aine. Thank you so much.
Thank you
Natasha.
So much. This is fantastic.
Guys, this is good coffee from Aine. Thank you so much.
Feel free to bring a second cup after.
Yes. So we had all these conversations. Yeah. The good thing about this podcast is we're having very real conversations, and I hope the guys will be able to take this message home, because still at the beginning of the year. So in 2017, we started having the conversations and we're asking ourselves,
yes, sir,
what's Kubamba's business?
Okay.
And God brought this man into my life. I'd gone for this training for 6 months. And into the 4th month, God brought this man called Mr. G into my life. And in this training that we were at. Is
it like a mystery guy? What is G for? G for? Yeah, Green, Mr. Green.
No, it's just it's his surname. Okay. But everybody calls him Mr. G.
Okay. So where is this? In Kenya?
This is here in Kenya.
Okay. Fantastic.
So it's called Transformation Business Network. So they use Christian principles to teach guys how to do biashara.
Okay.
So in the middle of this forum that we were sitting together with, with my cohort at that time, bro, of everyone anyone he could have talked to, he could have talked to in the, from the team that was there.
Yes, sir.
He pointed straight at me and he asked,
yeah,
what's Kubamba's business?
Wait a minute, but Moz, let me ask you, wait first. Mm-hmm. But you're a popular face.
Yeah.
Would I know this face? Yeah. If I was in the cohort,
maybe
I'd talk to you.
That's it. Maybe that's why, because you're seeing me on television.
Yeah.
Bro, so he asked me, what's Kubamba's business?
Okay.
And I started telling him, Kubamba, our job is to reach out to young people through music. And I started telling him all this narrative. He asks me a second time,
okay,
what's Kubamba's business? Tell him the same thing. Because I'm like, old man, are you not hearing what I'm saying?
He's not buying it.
He asks me a 3rd time.
No way. How is this making you feel now?
Now I'm getting almost irritated. Yeah.
Okay. What's the expression on his face?
Because I'm like, when he's not understanding, him is just very easy.
Okay, so what did you say? Maybe it was your answer.
No.
What did you say? Tell us, because all of us know
let me
Kubamba.
Tell him. So I'm like, Kubamba, we're in the business of reaching out to young people, and we use a 360-degree approach on air, online, on ground. So we use music as our tool of influence. I think this is very clear and precise.
It's very thorough. It's so refined.
You get?
Yeah, it's so clear.
But I'm not answering his question.
Which is, what is
Kubamba's business?
Okay.
I'm telling him what we do.
Yes.
What is Kubamba? Like, he's asking me to dig deeper.
Okay.
Why Kubamba started. So I'm telling him what we do.
But that's not the business.
I'm not telling him why Kubamba started. Why did God allow me to get into this space? And so he said, in front of everyone.
Yes, sir.
I'll tell you something that probably I would have sat with you for such a long time to get you to this place.
Okay.
Kubamba's business is the young person.
Okay. Perspective, that's clarity. It's head on.
So this young person is because everything we do,
is for
my
the young
one
person.
Constant
is the young person.
Is the young person.
Got it.
So all these other things are touch points. So when I talk about 360, on air, online, on ground, those are touch points for me to connect with
the young person. Yeah.
So whether we do radio, television, go to the high schools, go to the colleges, do the events like Totally Sold Out, these are all touch points. And the thing is, we get so hung up on our touch points because they're the things that we do.
Okay.
These are the things that we think that define us.
Okay.
They're the things that we hold closely, that they come to affect our core business.
Okay. Which is the young person. Okay.
So if any one of my touch points here
yes, sir,
are going to impede my opportunity to link up with a young person, that thing needs to be short.
So your business is not what you do.
Exactly.
The event is not the business.
The event is not the business.
Yeah, it's a means. It's a vehicle.
It's a vehicle.
So
it's
you
a
must
touch
not
point.
marry the vehicle.
Exactly.
Coach you. That makes sense.
It's a touch point.
Yes, sir.
So now in the middle of these conversations, we had to look at everything that we do.
Okay.
So and that's what I was saying. These things that you talked about, is it competition? Has time lapsed for this thing?
Yeah.
Is it financial?
I mean, the guy you started with right now have 2 kids.
Yes.
They are married and they're about to run for something.
See?
Yeah.
The guy, so things are changing.
Yes,
competition is coming in. And it's not even competition for me because I'm like, bro, my job is to lead people to the faith.
That's what it is.
So
you choose the method that is most relevant part-time.
Part-time.
Yes, sir.
And for me, I don't want to be in a situation of Saul. When that's sorry for Saul and David.
Yes, sir.
Saul got jealous because people were saying Saul has killed thousands, David has killed tens of thousands.
Yes.
If they teamed up, it would have been, these guys
there
have,
you go.
These guys have
They're
done
hundreds of thousands.
Exactly.
Yes, sir.
And so none of us have been called. This is not a solo move in God's kingdom.
Got you, sir.
Stand the work that you're doing at
sir.
Rivers, the work that Kubamba is doing in reaching out to the young people. What Brian is doing over here at the Hope Church. Bro, we should all celebrate one another.
This is true.
We have so much work to do. So anyway,
100%.
So for Totally Sold Out, we got to the place where we're like, I think this thing has served its time.
Got you. That's what it is. Just pause it for a minute. There's something you said that we need to collaborate.
Yeah.
But Moz, you and I know, boss.
Yeah.
This city collaboration, boss, it just sounds good on paper and on podcast.
Yeah.
Nobody's collaborating.
Because
for example, I'll give you an example.
Yeah.
I do business content. I have a passion to raise 1 million business leaders in Africa, right? Now, in doing content, I spoke to everybody that I could speak to who has equipment and is doing content.
Yeah.
And nobody would give me an opportunity to do it.
What?
Nobody would give me 0 for 0, including Christian churches. 0 for 0. Like nobody will give you space to do anything.
Yeah.
Do you know? I even tried to do an event at one huge church somewhere down the street over here.
I know.
And let me tell you, this church declared 2.3 billion revenue.
What?
It was in the newspaper. And I'm a guy in campus. I'm 4th year university. Yeah. Myself and my brothers, we come with a concept called word worship, where we are saying we're just going to have an afternoon where campusarians and high schoolers will come and have word and worship, and it's going to be all university, everything university students.
So good.
It was shut down. I went to one popular FM studio. They quoted 50K. I hustled most for 3 months, 90 days to get 5K. You know how 5K is the world in university.
Yeah.
Went with this check.
It doesn't come easily.
I went with this check. I tell you guys, it's a Christian event. It's for campus. Which money does campus use? There's 0. Yeah. Talking about emojis. So when you talk about collaboration, and I'm even putting it, I find, because I'm in the marketplace, collaboration in the secular world seems to be easier than collaboration in the Christian world.
Because they get it.
Okay. So what's the problem, sir?
I want to say that the guys in the secular space,
yes, sir,
for them the agenda is one. If it's business, if it makes financial sense to them,
let's do it. So for us, it will be, if it makes kingdom sense, let's do it. Boss, I have been doing live recordings at Rivers Church for as low as 30,000 shillings. I'm talking about 30,000 bob.
Yeah.
When the market rate, people will tell you, if you don't have 500,000, if you don't have 700K, our stage is record ready. We have 4K lumen lights, right? We have the cameras, we have the play, we have the sound.
So you're saying my venue is available?
But I'm saying my venue. I've said it all the time. I've said, if you're an artist, you're a gospel artist, you want to do live recording, come to Rivers. Yeah. We're going to support you for you'll even wonder if there's an agenda behind our support. That has been our disposition.
My thing is, I've always wondered, what's the point of putting up this whole infrastructure? Now, you have set up something that God has allowed you to put up at Rivers.
Yes, sir.
Did God make you set this thing up just to be used on Sundays?
Could you ask that question one more time, sir? Because that's the question I used to ask. And forget Sundays. I could come and say, okay, fine. people, you can say all those other days, the teams, the setup, the set down, the cleaning, all those things, no problem. I'll come on Sunday afternoon after service. Because the teams are there, the setup is there.
Bro.
But the answer was always capital N-O. When my brothers were getting married, we went to churches to ask for venues. I'm like, boss, some of these churches, we've preached in some of your youth services because we were big on preaching.
Yeah.
We've preached in some of your youth services, but they will not give you anything. And when they give you, they're like, okay, the grounds, we have to water the ground, you have to give 80,000 shillings.
Yeah.
I'm like, give me a break. So while there's the idea of people can take advantage, aren't we of a different kingdom?
I think the church, we need to get to that place where we value collaborations. And the thing is, it's so simple. Like Jesus Christ said, it's through your love for one another that people will know you're my disciples.
That is what it is.
But we tear each other down, or we are busy trying to build our kingdoms.
That's what it is.
Or our empires.
That's exactly what it is.
So we feel threatened when someone else comes into our space. But how much more better would it be if I know, Stan, you're doing something and I'm in a position to be able to help you, and I'm like, I want to rally behind you.
Yes, sir.
Because this is great kingdom impact.
100%.
At the end of the day, we will leave all these things down here. Like me, the one person I can take with me.
Yeah.
The one thing I can take with me to heaven is the guy whose life I've impacted.
100%. But the truth of the matter, Moz, is that in these streets, there are many Christians who are not born again.
Change.
I promise you. They are born again. They are weekend for weekend. I promise you, sound.
Bro, do you know
I'm telling you, I'm a person.
Please say this thing again. There are many Christians.
They are not born again. They are born again. Let me tell you, I am a Pasi in this city.
Yeah.
I didn't have sound. I was hiring sound.
Oh.
I went to the Christian big gig sound owners. They gave me nothing for nothing.
Yeah.
It's conditions, long contracts. I'm like, boss, it's Sunday. It's 2 hours. Let me have this equipment for Sunday 2 hours. Yeah. When you're not using, the days you are using, I'll panga myself. Yeah. When you are not using. You see, like what you guys did for R. You powered our Sunday at KICC. Oh. I remember you guys saying, no, you guys just sort your transport. Let me tell you, I was like, wait a minute. God has people in this city. Bro. Because I don't know I didn't come to Cuba. Both I spoke to a lot of Christian gig guys with speakers. Boss, the speakers are pouring out of the store. Yeah. And I'm like, boss, just give me one sub. Yeah. Give me 2 subs. Give me something. Give me a mic. Yeah. Right? That's before we purchase our sound. The answer was always no,
And I remember
contracts.
Yeah. But that's the joy of. And it's not because I know Julian. But it's the joy of being able to stand together with guys.
Yes, I mean, you guys did.
Like Kubamba is not, we are where we are because people have believed in us.
Wow.
From day one.
Wow.
Because the days when I was starting off, when I didn't have a vehicle to go for high school missions, and I'd come to you and be like, yo, bro, please, I have this mission that I'm going for. You'd be like, yeah, please, I'm going to the office. Come get the car from my office. Just return it by 5 o'clock.
Yo.
And if you're not done, it's okay. I'll catch a job to the house.
Yo.
But someone has given me the vehicle.
Early days like that.
Early days.
Wow.
The days when I didn't have a meal in my house. And my brother would open up the house and be like, dude, come stay with us for 3 days. He starts laughing because it's like, at least Moz has 3 square meals for the next 3 days. Yeah. You get. And, to date, it's because people have shown us so much love.
Yeah.
So I struggled. Sometimes the guys from my office would be like, Moz, you're too kind.
Yeah.
But it's because of the kindness I've received.
On those days.
To date, even now.
Yeah.
There are many things. Bro, how does it make sense? Like now, I've just come back from SA. And I didn't have to pay for accommodation.
Only Moz.
Because
only Moz.
A family has opened up their house.
Yeah. You're like when you're in SA, you come and stay here.
Come and stay here.
Yeah.
Unacheki.
Yes.
That's why I'm like, if God shows you so much love, why would I withhold love?
To somebody else.
To somebody else.
I see what you're saying. But now, you man, God was showing you love, but you're struggling.
Yeah.
No car, can't 3 square meals, hardly affording the house. Yeah. Tell me, as a visionary of notable repute in this country, how are those struggles? What was going through your mind? Like when you'd be in the house and you don't have food. Yeah. What was going through your mind? Were you bitter at God? Like, God, what kind of... Me, I'll tell you, I was.
You had beef.
I was like, no. I make very strange prayers. People don't get me. I'm just like, hey, God, the enemy, I'm serving you like that, and this is how you're going to treat me. There's a day I prayed like that. Then I'm now walking to campus. I'm completely bored. Then I just meet a guy who we used to know each other from high school, he buys me lunch.
Yeah.
I was like, God, I see what you've done. I see what you've done, but I'm not smiling. So tell me, as a visionary, did that get to you?
Yeah.
God's side then.
Yeah.
Over and above that, just being a visionary, having to birth this thing. Like today I walked in, my whole left side is flanked by mission vehicles.
Yeah.
These millions on the parking.
Yeah.
Now, to birth something huge like this, do you know nobody can believe you never used to have food? And you're saying that you used to borrow cars.
Yeah.
So at that time, did you ever doubt Kubamba?
Bro, let me tell you. First, let me put it clear for the guys who are watching this. What we're doing today was never in my plans.
Okay.
I was just happy
initially
being a DJ.
Saying so much, I don't even know what to hold on to. Okay. It was never in your... So what was your plan, sir?
I was just happy going and playing music first on radio, because that's the door that God had opened for me to introduce people to Christian music. Yeah. In a sense, in a sound that we love, that we connect with. And then when I was there, I was very content doing this 2-hour show on Family FM, 5 to 7 o'clock. And then you have young people calling and giving their life to Christ.
Yes, sir.
Then God gives you something else. It's like, okay, you're linking up with the young people on air, but how do you continue this engagement with them? They're in the high schools. So it shows you the next thing.
So you were discovering as you go.
Bro, I had no one else to peg this thing on. So you start going to the high schools.
Yeah.
Then as you go to the high schools, start going to the colleges.
Yeah.
Then you start putting events together.
Okay. So it's opening up as you go.
It's opening up as I go. Now, during that time, it was difficult.
Yeah.
And there are days that we would not have food. But I never slept hungry.
Okay. Yeah, I see what you're saying. I completely get that.
There are days I went for like a year without buying clothes. My clothes did not wear out.
Okay. You must have a good iron.
My shoes did not. My shoes did not wear out, bro. My clothes did not get torn.
Okay, yeah. This is a preservation of God.
So this is what I learned during my those difficult years.
Yes.
And it's my life lesson.
Okay.
Deuteronomy chapter 8.
Okay.
Became very real for me. It was God building my relationship with me and my total dependence on Him, where first, man does not live on bread alone, but every word that comes from the mouth of God.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir.
So I had to bond with Him really well.
Okay.
Then I had to learn that it's God who watches over me, because God would tell the children of Israel, I took you guys through the wilderness, but your clothes did not wear out.
Yeah.
Did not get torn. Your shoes did not wear out.
Yeah.
You did not fall sick. Basically, he was telling them, I provided for you guys.
Boss, you are deep.
Bro, I had to learn that.
Yo.
So now, someone cannot come and dangle a carrot of money for me to make me move.
Makes sense.
Because money is not a motivator.
God has already desensitized you.
Bro, in fact, thank you. That's the word I'll be using now.
Yes, it's desensitization.
I'd already been desensitized from that stuff.
Yes, sir.
So what moves me is, what do we want to accomplish? So Stanley, if you want to get me, it's very easy. Niambie tu Moz, tuende tutafanya kitu fulani ita impact wase namna hii. But for money,
yes, sir,
like it's not a motivator for me. So I had to get to that place where I've experienced God so much. So should I ever go through another time of lack, I know who I serve. And I know that my God is faithful.
Yes.
You get. And so the next thing happens also for my colleagues now. I have to tell them the same thing. I'm like, you can do this thing because Moz is asking you to do it.
Yeah.
It's another thing when you understand why.
That is so true. That actually makes sense. But I've always wondered, of course, you're the unpronounced father of gospel music. Yeah. So I have two questions for you. Number one, what happened to Bahati?
I have no idea.
Because these were your sons.
They were. Let me say they were. And
because you literally, you gave birth to two things. Let me tell you the two things you gave birth to. The first thing you gave birth to was an industry of gospel music.
Yeah.
Because it was literally non-existent.
Yeah.
Then the second thing, you handheld these artists.
Yeah.
I remember you coming with Kina Esther,
yeah.
Julie. You literally handheld them and gave them your platform by even paying for them to come to your events and bringing them everywhere.
Yeah.
So that they get acceptance. Pushed that through.
Yeah.
So there was a very strong, fresh, vibrant industry that you guys were birthing, and it was very exciting.
Yeah.
Is the gospel industry today what you envisioned?
No.
Wow.
We're not even anywhere close.
Wow. Why?
I think there are many factors.
And where did the rain start beating us? Yeah.
Let me say first that we do have some solid guys who are still holding on to the faith to date. This journey is not easy. The music industry is not an easy one. And there's a bigger conversation that we can have about this. But first, we need to get to that place where, again, you're recklessly abandoned to God.
Okay, sir.
And this is not a principle just for the music industry. It's a principle for anyone who calls himself or herself a Christian. You recklessly abandon yourself before God, but you know that your life is not. It's like a kite in the air. You know, where you know that your life is not yours.
Yes, sir.
You go where the wind takes you.
That is so easy to
and
say.
Jesus Christ says,
but the toughest thing ever.
It's hard, bro.
Yeah, like just letting go.
Because you need to know that it's God who's holding this string that the kite is attached to. Bro, God will never leave you or forsake you. That's what Jesus Christ said.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir.
But when the winds are moving you from the left and
to the right, yeah,
and feeling good, and then life is difficult, and you're going up, and then Maruna Shuka down, you feel like you don't have control over your life.
Okay.
And so you take the reins, and you're like, now let me be the one who's holding this string.
Okay.
And let me start making these moves.
Let me make the moves. Yeah, let me make the moves. Let me make the calls. Let me get the meetings.
Yeah.
Let me build. Let me recraft my brand.
Exactly.
Okay.
So, I can do this thing for gospel, but maybe it's not the only thing that I can do. I can do other things. It doesn't hurt if I put my life out there, if I start doing all these kind of crazy things, I'm getting the attention that I need.
Yeah.
Lauryn Hill said in one of her songs, she said that the road to hell is paved with good intentions.
This is what it is.
So I think many of us probably forgot why we started. And life can be hard. But if you do not remember why and whose you are, then you'll easily drift. And unfortunately, when one person falls, we were talking about collaborations earlier. In the body of Christ,
yes, sir,
we are so interconnected that Stan, if you stumble and if you fall, it affects me directly, even though I'm not in your close proximity.
That's what it is. Yes, that's what it is. The domino effect is crazy.
Yeah. So when one person who's probably at the peak, stumbles and they start falling, and guys start saying these guys are like, we can't trust them. Then another person and another person and another person and another person and another person.
And David spoke about this. David said one day, the man who has honor and does not perceive it is like a dying beast.
Wow.
Can you imagine? In fact, there's a version that says like a beast that dies on the ground. That if you had influence is such a precious commodity, because you can build with influence and you can destroy with influence.
Yeah.
And the problem is that the destruction of influence is so easy. It's one wrong word, it's one wrong move, it's one wrong place you are seeing, it's one wrong thing.
Yeah.
And that influence becomes now. And the interesting thing is many artists, many people who are out here, you will be doing everything every day to build that influence.
Yeah.
The only problem is many of us have not been educated on the purpose, the kingdom purpose of influence.
Yeah.
And that then becomes the tragedy of our time. I have found that we are taught how to excel, but we are not taught why to excel. Why should we excel? Because it can't be your fridge. You can only eat so much sausages. You can only drive so much. You can only dress so much. You can live on 1,000 acres, but you're only on 1 square meter at a time.
Yeah.
Right. So they must be a deeper purpose. It's something you said earlier, that there is something that God has raised you to do for the generation, the young man.
Yeah.
That's the purpose.
You have no plan B.
So everything else doesn't quite matter. So as the father, because children, as our children, children are a reflection of their father. So is there something that you did wrong as school? Because you are the father of the industry.
Yeah.
You are the father. You're the one who gave them. You're the one who gave them the initial, the so-called seed influence. Right?
Yeah.
All these guys. Is there something you guys did wrong?
Of course. When I look back, I think maybe there are things I could have done different. But then, when you're parenting, there's certain things that you also do not know.
Because you train on the job.
You train on the job. You can read all these books.
Yes, sir.
But kids are different.
Yes, sir.
I have 3 kids.
Okay.
So we tried to read as much as we could, for our firstborn.
Okay.
Then you realize that this young person, this creature has a mind of its own.
Okay. So you have not aligning with the book.
Yeah. So you can get some principles, but sometimes not all of them works. You cannot. They're not all. You cannot fix them all in one box.
Yes,
you have to know how to be able to unpack everyone. So there are definitely places where I feel we could have done things differently. But at the same time, bro, let me say, people, these are individuals you're dealing with. They're not robots. You get,
yes.
So it's not like there's a software out there, a code. This is the only way.
All of them align.
Yeah, this is the way to behave. Because we've been given a free will.
Yes.
So there's what it is that you can try, because you do life with guys. You walk with people,
and you're really
you pour your
that,
life
yeah?
into
you
them.
Really
You give into them. You pour
life
spiritual values into them.
Yeah.
They tell you what your ears want to hear, and then they go do the exact opposite.
Okay.
So let me say, I wish I could have done things differently, but I'm not God.
Yeah. I see what you're saying. Yeah.
At the end of the day, guys made the decisions that they wanted to make. But I can only be responsible for me.
Makes sense. I'm talking so much. I don't know if
no, it's okay. I have my questions. I'm going to ask you.
So
it's good.
So, there is a time when gospel music was bigger than secular. In fact, you were dominating secular. So it became funny that even in New Year's, nobody could ever attempt to do anything if it's not a gospel event.
Yeah.
Because nobody was coming. Like, gospel music had come to its full identity.
Yeah.
The giant that it is.
Yeah.
It was so difficult. I mean, gospel music was being played in bars.
Yeah.
That is how big gospel industry.
Bro.
And this was you guys were very instrumental in doing that.
We were so intentional.
Okay? In doing
tulikuwa na
that.
intentionality fulani tulikuwa nayo.
Yes, sir.
But we were like, because it was so hard starting.
You lifted that thing here.
Yeah.
And you had another headwind.
Yeah.
The other headwind you had was not just gospel music, but Kenyan music.
Yeah.
Nobody was listening to Kenyan music. No. So you have the handle of Kenya, you're creating an industry, but gospel is a subsection.
Yeah, which is a niche now.
It's a niche now.
Yeah.
It rises here. Secular is here. Secular is struggling. Secular artists are starting to collaborate with gospel artists.
For them to remain relevant.
They want to now.
They have to start doing gospel.
Yeah. So at that time, three things I want you to tell me. How are you feeling? How are you feeling? Were you like, okay, look at me, guys. This is my work.
Look at me now.
Yeah, look at me now. I told you guys. I told you should support me. See what I've done now. Yeah. Did you feel some sense of accomplishment?
Mm-hmm.
Did you ever think? Second question. Did you ever think that the height was just momentary?
Yeah.
And then third one, what would you say was the leading factor? You talked about intentionality. Other than intentionality, what else contributed to that? Do you know it was so overwhelming that you could feel the frustration in the secular side? Like guys are like, man, gospel is too much.
So to answer your first question.
Yes, sir.
I never sat and thought tumefika.
Okay.
Because hatujafika. Because music, again, is a touch point.
Yes, sir.
We still have many young people who are lost. This is just a tool that you're using to influence.
Yes, sir.
So we have a lot of work in terms of reaching out and bringing many young people to the faith. The second one was, you had a conversation one time. I was being interviewed by BBC.
Okay.
And because now the gospel music had grown to this place where even now the world, bro, BBC has noticed that there's something happening in Kenya.
Yes, we used to see those a lot. Those interviews were many.
Yeah, so I was called in for this interview with a professor from Strathmore.
Okay.
And she is an anthropologist. So, for them, they study the
human behavior,
culture, things
trends.
Like that.
Yeah.
So she said, so we asked the question, is this thing here for the long run or is it just a fad?
Which year was this?
This is like maybe 2011, 2012.
Okay.
And this lady said, this is just a trend that's going to change.
Okay. That was her observation.
This is her observation. Bro, she's a professor in this. So she studied these things, trends and things.
Yeah.
So me, I'm really young, and I'm like,
of something that will pass.
I'm like, Yani. At this point, I was like, this mama does not know about faith.
You don't understand fire.
So for me, I'm like, I say no. This
It's
cannot be a fad, because this is a lifestyle.
Yes, sir.
It's not about the music. It's about the man behind the music. It's about who you're talking about.
Yes, sir.
So this thing is only going to continue growing. But man, when I look back,
yeah,
I should have listened. You know how once the Lord has spoken twice,
you should have heard. You should have heard twice. You should have reflected again. So 2011, you're at the peak.
Now, this is now we're picking
crowds,
up
like
properly.
Everything is working.
Yes.
TV is working. Radio came.
Things are
like you are on every side.
Things are working out well.
Yeah.
So if I had the wisdom and the knowledge at that time,
okay,
I think I would have worked harder and made sure there were, made sure maybe there were certain systems and structures that were putting in place.
Also, at that time you were riding a wave.
Bro.
So it was not built on systems, structures, pillars, pipelines, nothing.
The systems were, the church is there to be able to walk and to disciple the guys. But then now again, people are people. You can't force people to do things. And then the world is changing.
But the churches were not yours.
No, the churches are not mine,
So you'd be like, go to that, because you were never a church. You're like, you're born again, go to church nearby.
Remember like Akina Kev, DJ Kev, you know, in the mall sound, they used to do camps for gospel artists, to be poured into, to be discipled.
But that is the time the gospel music was huge.
Bro, we were so intentional to do certain things.
But those stopped.
Yeah. Those stopped because life was happening.
Okay.
And so decisions were being made different.
Okay, got you.
And so where us guys initially, I took on a plan B. Like, this is it.
Yeah.
We ride and die on this thing.
Yeah.
Now guys do not have to ride and die on this thing because there are other options.
Okay, so guys got plan B. I'm a strategist. Did you have a written strategy, a 10-year, 20-year, 30-year?
We had a strategy as Kubamba.
Yeah. So you had
we still have a document as Kubamba.
That says this is where we are going for the next 20 years.
And even now, we are refining it because we're like, okay. There's a strategy we came up with in 2017.
Yeah, you got to refresh. And the environment is changing.
5 years later, things have changed so much.
Right now, this changing is so fast.
And now I'm having conversations with guys in my office and I'm telling them, and I'm glad I'm surrounded by some wonderful young guys who are very sharp. I'm saying, even this strategy that we come up with, we're going to hold it so loosely because in a year from now,
things will change dramatically.
The way the world is changing.
You have to respond, man.
Yeah.
Okay.
Got
you. So she says this is a fad.
This is a fad. And 5 years later, life starts changing.
How did that make you feel at that moment?
Terrible.
Where were you guys? Were you at Strathmore University?
No, I was not.
Where was the interview?
The interview was at BBC offices.
Okay. Yeah. So you walk into the BBC office in your normal hoodies.
Have this
people
conversation.
Like stand up and clap for you or something?
No, it's just so there's someone asking us a question and
how's her attitude? Is she friendly? Does she like you?
Oh yeah, like her she did not have. Yeah. She's just answering from a professional perspective.
Does she have kids?
I think she's a nun.
Oh.
Yeah.
Okay.
But she spoke such wisdom.
Okay.
I just did not know how to interpret.
You were not, the wisdom was not entering.
Because basically she's saying this thing that you're doing, Moz.
Yeah.
It's a trend. It doesn't have, it's not going to withstand time. It's a issue. But I think Stan, you've got to ask this question. Don't you think it's crazy that we're in a place where in a system that's dominated by the enemy, the things of God were prevailing?
Let me tell you, in ways you could not, in frustrating ways.
You cannot explain
it.
Does not happen anywhere.
Yes.
And it's music. And music shapes cultures.
That's what it is.
It shapes
everything.
Pattern, everything. We'll be dressed
and you listen to music more than you talk.
That's the power.
Actually, what I think is what we saw in you guys, I think it was a picture. And where we got it wrong is while our generation was supposed to now get ready to now enter the reality, we thought what you guys did was the apex.
No.
So what you guys did was actually a picture of what's possible.
Yeah.
I think God was trying to say, you know what, guys? You can take radio, you can take TV, you can take events, you can take it all.
Yeah.
But we didn't catch the memo.
No.
We didn't, because what happened is you're on TV at the same time, you're on radio at the same time, you're in events at the same time. The biggest event at the end of the year, like, it was becoming increasingly difficult to do anything outside of Kubamba.
Yeah.
You see that?
Yeah.
So that was a picture that now in 2015-16, guys now should have come up now, collaborate, get mentorship, and now deliver the next move.
Yeah.
Because one thing is certain, you have to move when God moves.
Oh, bro.
Yeah, you have to move when God moves. There are people who are in Mount Sinai today.
But let me tell you, man, I
and
think
we're in Mount Zion.
I think what happened needed to happen.
Okay.
And I'm so glad, and I thank God.
Okay,
that actually, we are where we are. Because if our lifestyle is not in tandem with what we are preaching about, think about the kind of confusion we would have brought into the lives of the young people.
My goodness.
You're either in God's side,
yes, sir,
or you're in the enemy's camp. There's no middle ground.
Yes,
so you cannot come and shout Jesus here.
Yes, sir.
And then ukirudi mtaani wewe ndo nenda kuvuruga.
Hey, you are speaking so straight.
You cannot.
So this is what you used to say this now.
This is now.
And you had to kill it.
God had to put it to slow down.
But somebody had to implement it.
Yes.
Which was you guys now.
I mean,
because
bro,
you are now asking for that consecration standard.
Things needed to change completely. Because even now, like, I get so shocked Dr. Nawasi wambe most hata ujui nini ilikuwa inaendelea behind the scenes. Vitu wasu walikuwa nafanya, you know, I'm like,
yeah, okay.
You know, but I'm glad that we are where we are today. Because first, God has never lost a generation.
Yes, sir.
You know, there'll always be a remnant.
Yes, sir.
And there's some young guys who are coming up who are so solid. And who know their God.
Yes, sir.
And they will do exploits.
Yes, sir.
And these are the ones we need to start identifying. And then God is also coming up with another move as well.
Yes, sir.
You know, I thank God for what Pastor George and the guys of City Lighters are doing downtown.
Oh, that's now what's happening.
You get?
Yes, Pastor George, Pastor T. There's now something else that's
coming up.
Yes, sir.
You know, and
it's catching fire. And
my prayer is that we don't lose vision of what it is that we're doing. These things are not about us. You know, sometimes we think we can come. It's very easy to come in front of the cross.
Yes, sir.
It's very easy to come in front of Jesus Christ. Where you're telling Jesus Christ, wewe niongoze. Lakini kumbe, wewe ni unamuongoza na mwambia, wewe nifuate, you know, rubber stamp hiki tunafanya. But if we allow Jesus Christ to lead us, bro, where you know that he's the shepherd and you're the sheep. And you need to trust that he's going to guide you and lead you in green pastures.
Got you, sir.
Where when we start talking about the good shepherd, it's not head knowledge.
Yes, sir.
Bro, you know him.
Experientially.
Unamjua.
Yes, sir.
So it's not a tia story. So stand on, you're going in front and you're telling people at Rivers, you're like, man.
Yeah, I see
guys, I want to tell you about this God who I know. I'd walk in the streets. Yes, and you know, I'd be complaining to him kwa nini sina dish, lakini anajua ukitembea utapata na beshte yako na takujenga.
10 years ago.
You know.
Yes, sir.
That in the things of God need to stop being head knowledge. And, and it needs to go beyond Stano.
Yes,
because there's a question I want to ask you, bro, because I think it's important for us at the beginning of the year. It does not make sense that for us as a country, we say that we are 80% Christian. So we identify with Christianity.
Yes, sir.
Which means we identify with Christ.
Yes, sir.
But we're one of the most corrupt countries in the world. Where children know where their folks work. So probably they know what their folks should be earning. But when they look at the income...
It's not matching up. Yeah.
You know, where we get to a place where... Yeah, where we get to a place where we're in business... But we're willing to compromise who we are for the sake of the buck. How will the children of God be seen to be different?
Yes, sir.
Is our definition of we're the children of God based on our success in terms of how life is? If you struggle, can you still be a child of God? And still know that you are securely loved?
hata kama unaishi Kibich?
Let me tell you, that's a very powerful question. Let me tell you. So, personally, I have never been the person who tells me, this is the way you should go and all these things. Because I have seen God's grace and I have seen that God always makes the first move, interestingly enough, because he says, while we were yet afar off, Romans 5:16, he says, before there was a word, even before we could even form the word in our mouth, that God helped me. He was already moving on your side. Yeah. It says, for this reason, he reconciled us to himself.
Yeah.
He didn't even reconcile us to rules and regulations. That's Romans chapter 5, verse 10. It says, by his blood, justified by his blood, we are reconciled to himself, reconciled to the Father. But I can just put in my contribution to this conversation. Why is it that we're 80% Christian and it doesn't feel like? There could be many factors. I could be wrong on this one. But one thing that is not happening is accountability.
Yeah.
I'm really big on accountability.
Yeah.
Do you realize that your sharpening, God has put that responsibility on another brother? That there is a dimension of effectiveness and efficiency that you'll never experience if you're not in fellowship.
Yeah.
There is the blessing that comes upon fellowship. You will find that the enemy has tacitly introduced this idea, I'm alone, I'm a lone wolf, I'm a lone worker.
Yeah.
I come to church, I don't want to talk to anybody. I come to church and I leave before church ends. You know, I want my life to be mysterious. Nobody wants accountability. But the truth is, the day you got born again, private life ended.
Yeah.
Because now you get into a community. And the anointing, scripture says, is it Psalms chapter 133 verse 1? It says, how good, how pleasant it is for brethren to dwell together in unity.
Yeah.
Then it says, it's like the oil running down it's like the oil running down the beard, running down to the edge of his garment, the edge of Aaron. It says, it is like the dew upon Mount Zion. Look at that freshness. There the Lord commands a blessing. Yeah. So there is the blessing of fellowship that I don't think we are emphasizing enough. Yeah. I work with married men in my church, and what I tell married men is, if you want your marriage to improve, over and above doing all these things we're telling you to do, find other married men who want their marriage to work.
Yeah.
If you're a married man, you cannot be sitting around men who are talking trash about marriage.
Yeah. You'll never.
You cannot be sitting around men who are talking trash about women. It could not be their wives, just random women, because there is a way that company will begin to enter inside. Yeah. Look at Proverbs chapter 13. Scripture is clear that he that walks with the wise shall be wise, but a companion of fools shall be destroyed. Yeah. There are people who I can send to a bar to evangelize. There are people who I cannot even allow to pass close. Because you're not ready. You're not ready. Yeah. The Christian character takes time to build. Yeah. That is why he argues that a righteous man falls down 7 times. Yeah. So you have to submit yourself to a process of accountability and correction. Yeah. Right now in the city, correction is church hurt. Yeah. You are in my worship team, but I can't speak to you. You are in our ushering team, but I can't speak to you. You are leading a small group, but you must not be asked where you are. I should be able to call you. I should be able to call you and ask you, where are you? Are you at home? What are you doing? Who are you with? Can I come and see where you are? In campus, myself and my 5 brothers were the radical policy. Yeah. It was called open door policy. So our door was always open. And if you are in the room with your girlfriend or whoever, the door has to be ajar. Yeah. And we'll take issue with you if it's not. So the question is, are we working together or not? If we are, and these young men, they took me quickly because this was new to me. And guys were like, no, if you're gonna work with us, this is how we move. Yeah. There are places you can't be seen. There are things you can't be saying. There's a life you can't live. Yeah. And that's our standard. And if you are struggling, you have to be honest enough. Somebody must be knowing you are struggling. Yeah. Secret sin is the cancer that will sniff you out of your destiny. Yeah. It will completely give boss. That thing will incinerate your life like this. And the more it is secret, the more it's growing. Yeah. But we've become masters at building masks. We're a very masky society. Yeah. That's why, it is well, praise the Lord, shalom. You have this very pious voice and you're talking so well. Yet inside you're this huge monster. You say anything, you have been unable to put, as it were, guardrails on your words. You are not careful about your association. Christian discipline is not taught. Yeah. We are embracing grace for grace. Yeah. But where grace is, that for me, I consider the gospel of grace fantastic. But there are some pitfalls that one must watch out for. For instance, the idea that you have to do nothing and God will do it all. You don't have to pray. Jesus already died.
Yeah.
You don't have to give anything. You don't have to sacrifice. Yeah. Missions, no. God will let other people to go for missions. My God will not be offended that I'm not living a life of sacrifice. Yet Jesus says, if you're going to follow me, you must carry your cross every day.
Yeah.
That cross is not it's not a pendant.
You're
being crucified every day.
Yeah.
It's a life of inconvenience. It's a life of, and me, I know because me, I'm a chief sinner, right? It is a life of inconvenience. And I found that when you allow accountability into your life, the prayer, God help me to be better, begins to be answered. The prayer, God, I'm struggling with, I don't know, social media, I'm struggling with porn, I'm struggling with alcohol, I'm struggling with drugs. That prayer begins to be answered so well when you open up your life to accountability. If you can be accountable.
So good.
That's why life on life discipleship is so powerful.
Yeah.
As long as people are honest.
Yeah, and they're willing to do that.
And they're willing to do that, yeah.
We used to say that honesty, accountability without honesty is makaratasi. Matope ngeli yama.
Hey! It's matope.
Let me ask you.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir.
Bro, in a new year, I know people have, the guys have come up with all these goals and things like that. You're in the financial sector.
Yes, sir.
Is it possible for guys to build financial independence or come up with structures that will lead them towards liberty or liberation from debt and, for them to be able to enjoy the goodness of life that God gives us? Things that we can decide today.
That's a big question.
I know. I know it's loaded.
Yeah.
Things that I can choose to start deciding to do today to help me make sure that by the end of 2025,
yes, sir,
I'll be in a better place.
Interesting. So there was a study done by CBK last year, and that study revealed that 60% of Kenyans are in debt. 60%. Okay. Wow. It gets worse. They continue and argue that 80% of the 60% that is in that debt will probably never, ever come out of that debt. Wow. That means that debt will be in their life for many, many years. Great.
Passing it on to their children.
Passing out to their children or, getting friends, the debt will be there.
Yeah.
So many times you'll find that you've been living in this house for many, 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 many years. Then at the end, when the person passes, the house was not yours all this while.
Yeah.
And it was even levered to a Shiloh, whatever. All manner of strange stories. Leave that one. So Forbes comes and argues that households that have debt have 90% chance of financial ruin. We are talking about expensive personal debt.
Yeah.
One of the most powerful engines of the financial world is leverage. But one of the most powerful weapons of the enemy to destroy your life is personal debt. Wow. Because many times personal debt is never for development.
No.
Personal debt is angled towards consumption. You see what I'm saying? Yeah. Now the other matter.
Explain to guys what you mean by it's geared towards consumption.
So this is when you borrow. You borrow to upgrade your life. You work so hard. Yeah. You're working so hard. Yeah. Live a little. Yeah. Reward yourself. Yeah. You're not rewarding yourself, baby.
Yeah.
You are locking up yourself in a prison that will take more than you're willing to give. And the problem of expensive personal debt is that it will take more than willpower to come out. It's not decision only.
Wow.
It is financial literacy. Listen, making money is not hard. That's why people, will come and say, you people, you have a lot of English. Even people without education have big hardware. No problem. Granted, you have big hardware, you're making 10 million, whatever it is. The issue has never been income. The issue is what remains. How do you build wealth? You don't build wealth with income. You build wealth with what stays. So constructing an effective backdoor is the full principle of finance. How are you able to build? So you build wealth with what remains. Now, the question is, how do you safeguard what remains? Use financial principles, which you concretize from financial literacy. But financial literacy is not obvious. So many people are completely illiterate. For instance, How would you go? You're a small business owner today. You have an average gross margin, let's say, of 20% or 25%. Let's say even generous. You have a gross margin of 30%. What do I mean? You buy, you think at 70 shillings, you sell it at 100.
Yeah.
So 30 shillings was the price. Gross margin means you have not loaded your operational expenses.
Yeah.
Fantastic. Then you go and borrow to a Shylock at 5% per month. You see, so you have a gross margin at the end of the year of 30%.
Yeah.
And you have a Shylock loan of 5% per month. Those two things already are not working.
So many compounded is 60%?
Yeah, so you have a 60% debt obligation against 30% gross margin. Yeah. So you begin to find that many people are not financially literate.
And this is, just to bring the point home as well, many people are going for these loans that they get on the phones.
That's even worse than drinking acid.
And those loans are coming at like 5% a month.
That is what it is. Do you know psychologically, a study by, which were these guys? I think, I'll tell you, I'll link it here. This study reveals something very interesting. And this is what happened in the US, that as long as you don't touch money physically, the impact of you spending it is reduced.
Wow.
So there was an experiment that was done. This was 100 people. I think 50 of them were given cash. 30 of them were given cards. 20 of them were given mobile applications. Then they were let loose for 30 days and they said, okay, fine. How was their spending habits? The guys of cards maxed out week 1.
Guys of cards?
Marked out week 1. Do you know, unlike spending hard cash, it gives you psychological punishment. Every time you spend hard cash, you feel something. You feel it's painful.
Yeah.
No, because you can touch it.
Yeah.
And it's your life. Because you exchanged your time.
Yeah.
You exchanged your time, which is your life, which is your blood. You exchanged your labor, your sweat. It's your sweat and blood converted into currency. You can touch it. You can touch it with your hand. Beautiful. Spending it, very painful. Okay. When you swipe a card, do you know there is a reward?
Yeah.
Psychologically, when you swipe, you feel better.
Yeah.
You feel on top of the world. They literally reverse engineered your brain to keep you in debt forever. That is why a lot of American debt will never be paid back. It will never, ever be paid back. And even if your credit score is bad, they will still give you more debt. Because what's happening is you are recruiting an army of zombies that will work all their life for you.
Yeah.
And that is the power of capital. So when you understand that if you are consuming, you are you're conscribing yourself into an army of slavery. When you are spending for investment, you're purchasing slaves.
Yeah.
So this mental wiring is so critical. You have to teach your brain that any time, okay, let me give an example, very painful. Anybody who I'm working with financially, they become millionaires. I want them to come to comment here who have worked with financially and they're not millionaires now.
Yeah.
But I have a very strict diet. That diet is, we live on 50%.
That's amazing.
So you take your money, it's painful.
So you
take your money. Let me tell you, today, I don't know if I'm celebrity enough. I've come to your podcast. Maybe you'll give me an honorarium. Or I'll give you, I don't know. You give me 20,000 shillings.
Yeah.
In my mind, that is 10,000. It is 10K.
That's how you have.
Yes, we cut tithe after tithe. It's 50%. If you can't live within 50% of your income, you're broke, boss. You are completely broke. You're broke for broke, baby. So you need to live 50% of it. And I'll tell you why. The last 10 years, let's say the last 10 years, how much has passed through your hands? It could be 30 million, 40. Let's say 100 million. 100 million has passed through your hands. Do you know if you're living on my principle, you'll have 50 million shillings right now? It doesn't matter. So for me right now, even if I'm getting capital that I'm supposed to use for business, I pitch in a way that a majority of that capital is going to savings. Because every time you withhold the money, what are you doing? You are buying the future. So the problem is not that the market has little return. Do you know this 10% return on $1 million shillings? You're living at $1 million shillings per month. 10% on $1 million. You're on $1 million shillings per month. And that is interest income. Now that is wealth. Anytime you touch money in your hands that was not generated from cash flow yielding assets, you are touching a weapon that could either make you or destroy you. So cash must be looked at as a weapon. Don't we know how many people who used to be rich? You know, we used to be members. Like, bro, Man, I used to sit first class. What are you talking about? What are you talking about Versace? I used to have Versace for the office. I used to have Tommy Hilfiger for the weekends.
Yeah.
Boss, like my smallest car was. They're always living in the past. Why? Because resources were in their hands, but they didn't discern. Well, they had the potential to buy the future. They decided to invest in the present. And the problem with the present, it is past.
Yeah.
Do you realize this? As soon as I say present, it's now in the past.
Yeah.
So the only thing you have is the past and the future.
Yeah.
And you can only make changes where? In the future. So can you come out of debt this year? Yes. But you can only come out of debt if you want it.
Mm-hmm.
But many people don't want it.
Yeah.
So, case in point, there's a gentleman I was working with, and he comes and tells me, this is what's happening. Mm-hmm. And, man, life is so tough. I ask him, okay, fine, how much is your rent? He said, I'm living, I'm just living in a 3-bedroom house in Kile. I'm paying 75K. Mm-hmm. I'm like, okay, fine, this is good. I'm glad you're living there now.
Yeah.
But you need to go to Umoja. He says, no, me. You mean
From
me to
Kile
go to Umoja?
Yeah.
Are you the craze? You want to tell me I can now go to no? Give me other solutions. Then I said, then you're not ready to break, you're not ready to build wealth. You're not ready to break the curse of poverty, because the kind of action needed to become financially independent is not action that requires average effort and average intelligence. Mm-hmm. That is why so many people will never ever be financially independent. It's a reality in our families. Mm-hmm. Many people, they'll tell you, ask them to check their bloodline. Nobody ever owned anything. Yeah. Nobody ever built a house. Now, there are also in the same bloodlines a lot of story around how our uncle used to be rich. Yeah. Used to have a big house. Used to buy us all these things. Why is it used? It's because all of us have equal chance of income, but not all of us have equal intelligence and determination to buy the future. So before you can ever fix your money problem, you're going to have to fix yourself. Yeah. That's where the work is. And that work is not easy work. Case in point, many people who are obese will never make money. Because the same discipline, and I speak about it so confidently because I was obese. I can even attach my photos.
You have done. Yes. I saw you, I was like, what the heck?
Yeah. So I even did a video on, I think my turning point was June of 2022. I just did a video. I said, hey guys, I'm a discipline teacher. I'm always talking about strategy. I'm always talking about making decisions. I'm always talking about following up. What about myself? Yeah. Why can't I do it myself? And I just said, okay, fine. From today henceforth, I'm going to knowledge first. Lead with knowledge. So it took 3 months to read and actually find out what does it take for you to be in the best shape of your life. Yeah. And it's something both my wife now are actively doing. We don't buy wheat. It's very difficult. There's no wheat in our house. Forget about we don't. There's no wheat in our house.
Chapos and mandazi slap.
I know, right?
Yeah.
There's no wheat in our house. There's no sugar. We don't take sugar. We have like a kg of sugar for guests. When guests come, and so on. But what am I saying? I'm saying all this to say this thing. You can be financially independent. It's possible, right? You can break debt. It's possible, but you have to first break yourself. Financial independence is your biggest war you will ever fight in your life. After purpose discovery, the next thing you need to fix is your finances. Because purposes without finances is frustration. And lack of finances will frustrate you so much so you'll abort purpose. Yes. You know what happens when you abort purpose? Now you live a life that is anyhow. Yeah, you don't care. No direction, nothing. And realize that purpose, men of purpose don't need alarm clocks. No. Zero, no alarm clocks, no reminder. A man of purpose will always come time. Because I'm not coming on time for you. Yes. There's something bigger driving me. Yeah. But without resource, purpose is frustrated. So once you discover purpose, the next thing you must fix aggressively is your finances. Yeah. And when I talk about finances, you must have a very solid plan to become rich. Yeah. Have a number. Many guys will say, I want to become financially independent. I wanna help. What's your number? Nobody knows a number. Yeah. What's your number? Is it 10 million shillings? Is it 100 million shillings?
At least you're working towards
it. Yeah, so you're working towards it, because if it's 100 million, if it's 10 million, it's $4 million. There is a portion of that $4 million that must be done this week. You see that? Yeah. So when we start tying today with the future, then you realize many people are not ready. They're not ready for that life. You know what you're ready for?
Bro, this is too heavy for the start of the year, man.
Let me tell you what you're ready for. Can I tell you what you're ready for?
Yeah.
What you're ready for is you're ready for iPhone 16. That's what you're ready for.
Yeah.
You're ready for browsing. You don't care about bundles.
Yeah.
You're ready for that. You're ready for big TV. I mean, you work so hard.
Yeah.
You're ready for dressing well.
Yeah.
That one, you're ready for. But go back to school. School is overrated.
Yeah.
Cut expenses. Why should I cut expenses? We are working hard. Money will come. In fact, spend money so that money can get used to you and other lives.
Yeah.
Right? So there's so much machinery. I'm talking about generally now. Spiritually, it gets worse. It gets much worse because resources in the hands of a believer is a direct warfare against the enemy.
Yeah.
Money in your hands is warfare against it. So there is systems that the enemy has deployed. Weapons, choice weapons, fashioned to keep you broke completely.
It's a system that's working against you.
To keep you broke.
And
to make sure that anytime you have money, that money is gone before you did it. Right? So there's all this. Now, a lack of awareness of where you stand and what you must do is what is keeping you perpetually broke. So that's why you have all these financial goals. Never meet them. You'll have all these financial plans. Never meet them. The people who need budgets the most are the ones who have never budgeted. Which financial goals? Nothing. You'll stay in debt. You'll remain broke and you'll be frustrated completely. Are you seeing what I'm saying?
This is so good, man. Yeah. This is so good. Man, guys, bro, lazima to wind up.
Oh, okay. Oh, it's already time.
Kate, what time is it?
No way, it's 11.
Yeah.
Okay, it was long. Okay, that was long. And I thought we were just getting started.
Oh my gosh. Like I like this. Like my podcast is, it's those long.
It's like Joe
long
Rogan,
format. Yeah.
Long. You just don't, there's no restriction.
There's no restriction.
I'm really enjoying myself.
I need to speak over here.
No problem. I will leave.
I think that you and I need to have another conversation about finances. Because
100%.
We have had such insightful conversations because we've talked about marriage, but there are principles that we've talked about.
A lot. We couldn't even pull them out, but I could just hear them.
There's a lot of nuggets of wisdom that we've been able to share. And even now, we need to talk more about how to unlock this financial.
When you talk about money, we're not talking about money enough. We're not talking about money enough in our families, in our relationship. We're not talking about money in schools, in churches. We're not talking about money enough.
And even now, the things that you've shared is just like a nugget that I feel we need to start unpacking. You've talked about how do we make sure that we are disciplined enough. First, to break ourselves, to break away from this.
100%. A financially independent man is broken.
Yes.
You have to be desensitized. Do you know, you wake up in the morning and you're surrounded with shiny objects?
It's intentional.
So it's intentional. So you're spending. The whole day.
It's intentional. It is intentional.
Yes.
I don't think people even understand that there are people who sit and they think about this is how we're going to shoot this commercial.
Yes.
Because there's a psychological need that they have in the back of their mind. How they're going to get us.
Even the tension.
Oh, man.
The reward. They even set up a problem and then they reward you in the commercial. By the time they're done with you, boss, you are purchased.
Wametungiza kwa system baya. Anyway, guys, I've been hanging out with Stan. He is an amazing guy. He is the lead pastor at Ruach Rivers. Hapo hivyo karibu na 2 Rivers, So guys, what time do you do your church service?
We have a service that starts at 10 a.m. and runs all the way to 12:30 currently. But in February 23rd, can somebody say February 23rd?
February 23rd.
So the February 23rd, we're going to be having 2 services. Our first service now will be effectively 9 to 10:30.
Okay.
And then we'll pick the second service from 11 to 12:30.
Guys, there's a lot of nuggets to be able to pick up from Stan. As you can clearly tell, he's a man of wisdom. And what I like about this podcast, Nikua, it was very umeniuliza maswali. More.
Thank you, sir.
But, guys, this has been such a good conversation. And so for you, I hope that you've been blessed. And if you have, please go ahead and drop us some comments up at Vichini. What stood out for you in the conversations? And also, please make sure you follow. What are your handles, by the way?
Stan Agacho on YouTube. Stan Agacho on TikTok. We're doing very good on TikTok. It's a business channel.
That's what's up.
Stan Agacho on Facebook.
There you
Stan
go.
Agacho on X.
There you go.
Stan Agacho.
Hala team tafadhali, sindio? Anyway, go ahead and share, like, subscribe to this channel, as well as, share it together with your loved ones as well as your enemies. Why? Keep your enemies close, man.
And I was hanging out with DJ Moz, the unpronounced but true father of Kenya's gospel industry. I don't think we celebrate this man enough. He has given us amazing nuggets on family, amazing nuggets on ministry, amazing nuggets on vision. For all those visionaries out there, take heart. This thing never starts big. No. What became the trend of the nation being discussed in BBC was in the custodianship of a man who needed to be saved from hunger. Can you imagine? And sometimes that strong desire to give up, that strong desire to cave in, that strong desire to throw in a towel is actually the most powerful indication of the true power that you carry. So keep dreaming, keep visioning, keep executing, and let's meet at the bank. Because I'm a finance man.
That's what you do. I like that. Let's meet at the bank.